Hi, I'm Tony Coccagna, and welcome to the Coach Joe Lombardi Show. I'm here with IUP basketball coach Joe Lombardi, whose team is 22-7 and the PSAC West champions at 18-4. Coach, I wish we were sitting here talking about a whole lot of good things today, but Saturday was an unfortunate day, even though you won a game. Anthony Glover Jr., your leading scorer, gets 2 technical fouls, gets ejected by conference rule. He has to sit out the next game. And then your point guard, Joe Lombardi, goes down with a wrist injury. So a couple minutes during one game really changed the course of your season, didn't it?
Well, Tony, yeah, and if you don't mind, I don't mind. I'd like to come back to all that later, okay? Sure. Because I really, we're really grateful for this past week and appreciative of all the good things that happened. First of all, okay, we try to keep our focus on that. This team won outright, another conference championship. Okay, 9-team conference. That's in over 22 games. That's quite the accomplishment. So we'd like to focus on that. The Edinboro game was a well-played game. Edinboro did a great job, and it was on ESPN3 Watch, which gave some great exposure, I think, to the university, to our facility, to our program. And I think we had close to 3,000 people there. So it was a wonderful atmosphere. It's a testament to the team, to their success this year, and it was senior night. So as a coach, you're on a long journey with these guys, and sometimes the journey with each of them is 3 years, 2 years, but at least with this team and this program, this was a 1-year journey, and it really culminated in that. And we're grateful for that. We're thankful that we had the opportunity to do that, and the support that we got from a lot of people also played a big part in this success. Okay, people in the university and outside of the university. So that is, that was a highlight, and for all that to come together, and especially with the, with the inner adversities that this team has had to face all year. It's probably the most I've had in the 12 years. Everything from Kobo and Dante's injuries early in the year to Malik's unfortunate accident, to other things, to Armani getting hurt early in the year. Us just playing shorthanded in a lot of games and being able to overcome that. And my guys have grown up a lot. It's important to me to transform them as young men as well as win games, okay? And they've really grown up a lot. I think they've learned a lot of good lessons this year with dealing with adversities and unfortunate things that might happen and being resilient. So to me, it was a huge highlight this week with the Edinboro, and then to finish it up with a win where I thought my guys at Seton Hill, I've been fighting with them a little bit all year to be more competitive and play with more passion, and just it helps you find ways to win games. Okay, obviously skill is important, but they did that. They just willed that win, as they willed the Edinboro win too. So. That's very rewarding as a coach to be able to get that out of them. So, not to steer away from the question you asked originally, but to me that's the highlight of the past week. And like anything else in life, there's highlights and lowlights. Okay, and then the low light, occurred at Seton Hill. And to get back to your question there. I think it was a physical game. It was senior night for them. They weren't going to make the playoffs, so this was everything to them. So they came out, and I thought they did a good job, and they played with a lot of passion. And their coach was retiring, so there was some of their guys played harder than I've seen them play in 4 years. So and consistent. Spencer Casson, who's usually conditioning, he's a big kid. He leads the country in blocks, almost 4.5 a game. He usually only averages 20, 21 minutes a game because his conditioning is not always at the best, and he played his first 40-minute game of his career. So that kind of tells you how. And he really played well. I think he had 6 blocks, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm glad we didn't see that guy all the time for the last 4 or 5 years. But his mother told me before the game he wanted to come to IUP, and we can't take everybody, and we miss on some guys. So a little sideline to that. But some unfortunate things happen. 10 minutes to go, Dante falls on his wrist. It's hurting him at the time. I find out later, he actually was on his right wrist. Actually made a couple shots with it afterwards. Played the rest of the game. Found out afterwards he had a fractured bone right near the end of the wrist on his hand, and won't be able to play in the PSAC tournament this week. So that was hard to take as a coach, hard to take as a father. But those things happen. Those are part of life. Our program's gonna learn that when we deal with misfortune and adversity, we're gonna look for the positives in it. We're gonna look to find our way through it and support each other and grow. And then Anthony Glover had 2 technicals. He's one of the most mild-mannered kids I've ever coached. So he's really. I'm not saying he's the perfect angel, okay, but he would be one of the last guys I would think. He's never had a technical before in his career. He wasn't disrespectful to the officials in any way. Seton Hill wanted to make their competitiveness, brought out a very physical game, and they had problems earlier near Westchester. They had 5 or 6 guys suspended for games because they got in a fight with Westchester earlier in the year. So maybe the officials were quick to react in some situations. In my mind, overly quick to react. So they didn't have a reoccurrence of the Westchester thing. So they have some competitive kids, I think, Seton Hill. Some kids that came in off the bench that didn't even play a lot. They went after, sometimes in sports, you try to get somebody off their game, okay, by what you say, or if you play physical with them, and they went after Glove, I think, and he didn't respond in the situation as best as possible. I don't think he did a bad job, but he didn't do a real good job either. So there's some accountability there that we teach in our program that he has to take ownership of. But in my mind, he's no less of a class act and a gentleman. But when you're the best player in the league, people have to try to stop you in different ways, and sometimes it's mental warfare, and sometimes it's physical warfare.
Well, I went back, when I got back to the office that night, I went back and watched the film, as I'm sure you did. And on the first technical, Glove is cutting across the bottom lane, starts to curl up through, gets grabbed. The official calls a foul, and the players turn toward each other and exchange words, and Willem Bronvik, one of your guys, is right there, gets between them, separates them, and the official that made the foul call is right there, and he's stepping in too. So it looks like the play is over. Then the outside official runs in and calls a technical on both guys. And I thought it was an overreaction on his part.
Yeah, there's no doubt it was an overreaction. Everybody can have different viewpoints on how you look at it. I've never seen something like that happen where 2 refs are right there and they don't think it's enough, and a guy comes in from 40 feet. So that was a little bit disappointing. But whether there's good calls or bad calls made during the course of the game, I thought the officials did a good job of officiating the game. In my mind, that might have been a bad call. I made some bad decisions during the game too, I'm sure, if you want to go back through it. And so it's really, it's just human nature that comes into play during games, and people have different reasons sometimes for officials for making different calls. But it was surprising that 2 guys weren't there, and the kid walked when it was kind of done. The kid walked towards Glove, and Glove didn't move his feet towards the kid at all. And but I guess he put his chest out. And if you put your chest out, could be viewed as taunting, and so so be it. That's how it went down. But I don't want to really get into the details and the critiquing of this. It's an unfortunate situation that took place because you have and the same official called the second tee on him. So you have an official. In some ways, being able to impact not only that game, okay, but having a big say-so in the conference tournament too. So, again, those guys are trying to do the best job that they can do. They put their effort in, and they're not going to be perfect, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them not being perfect. It'd be very shallow of me to expect that, and we just have to move forward. But it's also important to me that the class that Anthony Glover has, this young man, there's he's not one to be cast a black eye on. Okay, it's unfortunate that it's turned. There is that little bit of a stigma that's not deserving.
Okay, let's move ahead. You faced adversity all season because of injuries. Not like you're going to face Wednesday night. You're going to get either Edinboro or Pitt Johnstown. You have 5 guys left that have played significant minutes this year.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with it? How do you overcome it? And do you want me to bring my sneakers on Wednesday night?
Yeah, we're going to have open tryouts this week again. All right. It's going to be challenging with those 2 guards out. In my mind, the best backcourt duo in the conference, in East or West, and so it's definitely going to be a challenging night. We're going to tie them up. We're going to bring whoever everybody that's available on the roster, and we're going to try to coach them up and prepare them for this, and we're going to hope for a great response from them. If they're able to rise up and overcome this again, we'll be very fortunate, and if they're not, you just move on to the next day. We're not going to. There's no sentiment in our program that we've been treated unfairly, so to speak. Okay, it's not about fairness or whatever. It's about things that happen in life and the reality of sports and just moving on and trying to do your best the next game. I mean, however this ends up this week or this season ends up, it's not going to diminish the journey that we've been on and the great effort and success that these guys have given this year. Okay, they put their stamp on it. They put their stamp and left their footprint on IUP basketball. However, the rest of it turns out.
Yeah, it could have an impact on your NCAA tournament hopes too.
Yeah. That all goes in the equation, but there's so much good fortune and bad fortune that comes throughout the year, Tony. You make a last-second shot. Do you deserve that? Okay, you can't start getting into what do you deserve. Okay, you get what you get in life, you get what you get in sports, and you try to approach it with a high level of class and a high level of understanding that. These things are important to all of us, but they really don't define us, and they don't define these young men either.
Pitt Johnstown or Edinboro, both really good offensive teams. What do both of them bring to the table?
I think you said it. To bring a lot of good offense. They have each team has 2 guys that are probably top 8, 10 guys in the league. Okay, on all conference picks. I don't know if all 4 of them will make first team, but I wouldn't be surprised either if they did. So they bring the better offenses in the conference in here. We just played Edinboro a week ago, played Pitt Johnstown a few weeks ago, and we're going to have to maybe change some things too, how we play defense, what we're doing. You got to kind of survive the mentality when you're shorthanded is you survive the first 35 minutes and try to hope that you could steal it at the end of the game and maybe the winds blow your way and good fortune comes your way and the ball bounces right where the guy's standing for a 3-pointer and he closes his eyes and throws it in. Okay, so that's athletics. It's athletics. You got to be excited for every challenge, not just when you have the best hand in the challenge.
Well, we talked going into the start of the season about facing assaults and with the injuries and everything that you had. And so I guess maybe it's fitting that you're going into the postseason the same way, facing the same kind of assaults.
Each team has its own identity, and sometimes you're, they have a different championship DNA. There's a lot of championship DNA, but you have to have enough of it in order to do it. This team has a championship DNA, and probably that resiliency is one of their biggest factors. Okay, that resiliency, and it's been that way, kind of a fitting season. It's kind of playing out to the very end here, whether it's Wednesday or whether it's 3 weeks from now in South Dakota. the resiliency part, the ability to compete and the ability to overcome is certainly a byline for this team.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck Wednesday and hopefully beyond. And thanks for joining us. And good luck and go get them.
Life is good. Appreciate being a part of it.